Go the Premanandi. If you come a little closer, then I don't have to scream. You're okay. Today I want to offer my obeisances to my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada for having rescued me, for having saved me from an undignified existence. Let me tell you my short and intensive story. My grandparents' property was bombed in the Second World War. It was a castle situated in Krefeld, and they were very well-to-do people until the World War came, and all what they had was destroyed, was burned. My mother, she had been, including with her father, quite active supporters of the Hitler regime. Of course, she was just a girl, and she was pulled in to that youth movement of Hitler called the Hitler Jugend. On the other side, my father, he went to war, and he was taken prisoner in Africa. I don't know how many people he killed in war or not. He never talked about it. He totally refused to talk about anything in relationship with his imprisonment or with his war activity as a young man. So both of them, they got married. Both of them wanted to be teachers. And then my brother was born. Next I was born. And I was trying to figure out what's happening. What is this world I was born into? My grandparents, on the father's side, they had been living as luthiers in south of Germany, which then became after the war communist, and so they escaped from there, also losing everything which they had, all their farms and their workshops as luthiers. They were coming from Markneukirchen. So they moved to the western part and somehow or other got established by renting another big castle from the government and making it into a music museum. They were all musicians, practically, so they were always trying to find joy in the musics, but they could never find it. When I was around 7 years old, I started having a keen interest in the world which surrounds me. Then I saw these incredible pictures. You know, after the Second World War, after Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen and other places like that, concentration camps had been discovered, and you saw those pictures of bulldozers bulldozing dead bodies of beautiful young men and women which had been assassinated in the Hitler time. I was so deeply shocked in my heart that I could hardly contain myself. Of course, as a young kid, the impression did not completely manifest yet, but the deep shock was already there. Then, as I was going to expand my investigation, I found out that the brother of my grandfather had been the movie maker of the Third Reich. He had been Joseph Goebbels' hand-picked movie maker of making movies to incite hate against the Jewish people. And those movies were part of heating up the German minds, which facilitated that incredible persecution of the Jewish people and the Holocaust, of whatever it may be. So then I was becoming so extremely morose, because I was born in a Nazi family. They all had their excuses and stories, except my grandpa, from mother's side. He was a Nazi even long time after the World War was finished. He would still speak his Nazi paroles. So I was so disgusted with my family, both paternal and maternal side. I could see they have nothing. They have nothing. They were kind of well-to-do people. They knew how to move in this world, make some money and like that. But they had nothing. They had no moral. They had no spirituality. They had no integrity. And they were in total denial of the disasters they had participated in perpetuating. At that time, I was becoming around 10, 11. I actually started reading a newspaper like old people do. So I was a quite a well-informed kid. And that time, the war against Vietnam started. So very young age, by the age of 11, 12, I was part of the political conscious people. And again, a Holocaust taking place in Vietnam. Women and children being burned alive by napalm bombs. And of course the German government saying nothing, because last not least they had nothing to say, because they were the war losers and they were invaded by Russians, French, British. They had lost so many territories from the previous country because of all the offenses they had done to all the other countries. I mean, Germans fighting a war against Polish. No aggression from the Polish to the German. They gave trouble to the Dutch. No aggression from the Dutch towards the German. They were fighting, they were trying to dominate the French. No aggression from the French towards the German. There was not even a struggle. It just meant these people are out of their mind. They were top crazies. And the other countries, Russians and Hungarians and Croatians, well, they were all pulled in, they were sucked in with this terrible warmongering mentality which the Germans had, for whatever justification they may have presented. They were just warmongering. So I felt totally disgusted, and then for a while I said, well, the mistake, because the war in Vietnam, I said, oh, okay, the Americans, they are so bad. But you see, the Americans, they're only Britishers and Germans, and a few French. They're in French Canada and so. So there's no difference between Americans and Europeans, really. They're the same guys, same mentality, same troublemakers on the planet. So I was completely disgusted. He said, I'm coming from a family of killers of the innocent, killers of human beings, not of animals. That still took for me 2 years longer to understand that the killing of the animals was also a great crime, which everybody participated, including myself at that time. I wasn't a vegetarian. So when it hit me at the age of 15 that killing the animals is just as much a great crime, and as a matter of fact that killing the animals will bring the insensitivity upon human beings to also kill humans, I could feel inside of myself a great disgust with our entire world. Because I hadn't met anybody sincere, to say the truth. My investigation of Christianity ended in discovery in the Christian conspiration against others. Christians participated in Hitler regime, and Christians personally killed all the sick people in the Third Reich. 200,000 sick people were killed in Catholic and Protestant so-called institutions of protecting the sick. Instead of being protected, they were killed. And one famous Christian pastor, Protestant pastor, his name is Bodil Schwing, he wrote justifying the participations of the Christians in the killing, saying is to return to God the defective production. That was the Christian way of saying, well, we killed them, yeah, but they were defective production, so we just made them an easy return to God, so they don't have to live so long and we have to spend money on them. So you see, I was completely disheartened. Before I met my spiritual master, I could have thrown away the whole world. Forget the world, I don't want to know nothing about it. And that is because of good reasons, not sentimental. Very good reasons and very good awareness of the crime and the insensitivity of my very forefathers. What to speak of going back and going to slavery and colonialism and all that nonsense which was going on before that, which I don't know how much my family have been involved, but I know for sure that the country where I come from, and Europe in specific, are the perpetrators of the greatest violence to humanity. I don't think that any other race in the history of mankind can be blamed for so much damage on this planet as the Europeans. So, no doubt I wanted to find a different connection for my life. And what else was there except the wisdom and the love of true spiritualists? since I didn't find such true love in the Christian tradition whatsoever. Because all they were doing is killing before and still killing animals and saying that they can do it, that there's nothing harm in it, because animals are supposedly not having souls. So I was in a very hopeless state of my existence. I was almost ready to kill myself. And plus, I was also so foolish that as the entertainment people and entertainment stuff came to the West, I also experimented and tried, maybe world is horrible, but maybe you can entertain yourself a little bit with certain elements. So for a very short time, I also associated with the drug culture, which was just arising in Germany at that time. And how quick was the disillusion with that sphere? Mm-hmm. Because those who went into drugs, I saw them folding right in front of my eyes. Some of them went to jail, some of them committed suicide, some of them died of overdoses. So it was a mess. Hippie? No hippie, no happy. Huh? Just idiots. Nothing of positive contribution. Okay, they rejected the previous killers. Good. But are the hippies known for being vegetarians? Not really. Some of them turned vegetarians and stopped being hippies and becoming yogis. That's true, but that was also zeitgeist. That was also coming out. I remember I became a vegetarian when I was at the age of 15. I was about to eat some canned meat after a night of partying, and as I grabbed this can of meat, I don't even remember who, one person came up to me, next to me, and looked at me and said, "Do you know that the yogis of India would never even touch this, what to speak of eating it?" This one phrase, one sentence was my vegetarian movement beginning and end. It hit me like an arrow. If all the yogis of India would never touch, what to speak of eat, the meat, they can't be all wrong. The yogis of India impressed me, without knowing much about them, as very respectable and very highly spiritual people. So if they all would not touch it, then why should I touch it? So from that day on, I never touched meat, fish, eggs again. No. It was like a memory, like a flashback of some previous lifetime acquisition or something. It was like, wow, a relief, a relief, a relief, a relief. An unbelievable relief. And before I was covered, before that relief came to me, I still remember my father sending me out to get a job, because I was coming from a small village, there was no jobs. So at some point, I actually went to a butcher and asked if he has a job for me. Thanks God. I had long hair at that time. So I didn't want anybody with long hair working for him. So I was saved. I mean, I was so silly, so stupid. I went to a butcher asking for a job. So I was saved from becoming a butcher just by that. So this is how insensitive and silly, what an idiot I was myself, and what an idiotic background I'm coming from. No compassion, no understanding, no mysticism, no spirituality, nothing. Nothing. Whatever spirituality was there was just musical hypocrisy. As a matter of fact, my father was the leader of the local choir. Then he had a fight with the priest and never went back to church. So that was the end of his spiritual career. Then he became a biologist, and then he became a proclaimed atheist. Then he said, I know better. Before I was believing, now I know better. Everything is coming from natural evolutional development. There's no mystical God behind the whole thing. So in this way, our family, didn't have much to offer. So because of that, I immediately decided that I want to change my lifestyle. I want to change my behavior. I want to change everything. But I didn't really know what that means. So it was then when I began to start reading some important books. Rig Veda first. Just by chance it came into my hands. Bhagavad Gita. Lao Tse, Tao Te King. And these books gave new hope to me that there is something in this existence worth going after. I didn't know it. It wasn't in Europe. All these big churches built by slaves, they didn't impress me whatsoever. To me, there were heaps of stool. I didn't care for their artistic development at that point, at least, because I couldn't see the human value inside. Who wants to look at pyramids which are constructed at the cost of life of thousands of slaves? So my spiritual master gave me a vision of life. He returned life to me. You could easily say, because of him I am alive. And he explained everything to me. He explained karma, the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, the mode of goodness. He explained everything to me. He opened my eyes towards the need of non-violent spiritual understanding, karma, reaction, responsibility. He explained everything. And he also explained divinity. He also explained to me how the Supreme Lord is being understood as a cosmic energy, as a universal form. His omnipresence in this world. He showed me the spirituality of the super soul, of the Lord within the heart. He explained to me how we are at the same time free individuals, and still we are depending on divine grace. This is the basic illumination which came from our Srila Prabhupada. It came to us by his endeavor, his loving endeavor for our welfare. And because of that, we could decide that we want to become monks. I had a feeling that I wanted to be a monk even very early. But how you be an atheistic monk? I wanted to live some spirituality, but I didn't have any trust in anybody. I studied Buddhism for a while, but I didn't meet any Buddhist who was appealing or attractive to me. I just read some books. So this did not manifest for me. So the whole thing went on until I met my beloved spiritual master by the grace, by his divine grace. Twang nasam dashito data dushtirang dishtitir satam kaling satvang harang sankana dada ivananam. We met your grace by the will of providence, and now we accept you as a captain of our ship, so that we can cross over the misery of this material existence, this ocean of material existence. We accept you That is one of the shlokas of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that if we are very lucky, if we meet somebody who can help us to cross over the ocean of repeated births and deaths. I mean, in our Western culture, we don't even know about the ocean of repeated births and deaths. We just know how to give death to others. In that we are quite expert, but about repeated birth and death we have no idea. Karma, we have no idea. Or if we do have any idea, we are not practicing, we are not recognizing the implications of it. Otherwise we would never touch an animal and kill it, because that's also a karma, and that gets back on you. You killed an animal and now you will be killed in the future for that. You made an abortion, you will be aborted. You went to war against the innocent, you'll be the slave of those who you have exploited. Something like that. Karma is not easy to understand, but it's there. And it's clear. It's a clear story. By that time, I hadn't understood anything about love yet. The yoga of love. I had no idea it existed. By that time I thought love means lust. Lusting after somebody, that's love. I had no idea that such a thing as divine love could actually exist. But when I met my spiritual master and I saw how much love he had and how much love he inspired in others, I changed my concept completely, and I understood that divine love is the only interesting reality. The only one. Everything else you can throw away. Starting with your TV. But don't throw away divine love, because it's the only real thing in the end of your existence. And it's the only thing which makes you happy regardless how old you are, regardless how rich or poor you are, regardless how pretty or not pretty you are, regardless of how many friends you have or you don't have. Divine love will always give you a real meaning, a real fulfillment, a real gracious existence. So go for divine love. That's my recommendation to you. And whatever help I can give you in this regard, I have to give it to you, because I, the most undeserving of all, received so much divine love from my Gurudev. So much kindness, so much love, unbelievable amounts. And he did request me to go and dedicate my life to distributing that love he has given to me. And that, therefore, the only thing I'm thankful to Germany is for that passport. Because as a traveling preacher around the world, it has become very helpful to have a German passport. If I would have had an Indian one, that's a torture. Or a South American passport, my God. They're treated like scum in most places when they come and show their passport. So a German passport does help for going around as a traveling mendicant around the world. And I've been so well received, undeservingly well received. Well, undeservingly for my side, but not undeservingly when it comes to who I am representing. I'm representing my Gurudev Srila Prabhupada, and he deserves all the love and all the attention when somebody receives him or his representative, because he is a divine lover of humanity. He's a divine lover of God. And when a divine lover comes, everybody should pay attention, because divine love is what he can give you. And if you get divine love, then you're the luckiest of all. And then you're also committed of distributing it. Wish you good luck. Wish you the best. Wish you great amounts of divine love, universal love, love for all. And defending all those who cannot defend themselves. South America, we started our kirtan parties, big festivals, so we called them in defense of all those who cannot speak for themselves. So actually we are spreading, chanting and dancing and loving God, but also we say, hey, all those who cannot defend themselves, if we give trouble to them, we'll be in trouble. So it's kind of a message of that. We added another message to the divine call for divine love, as Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given to us. So I hope you can understand me better when you know a little bit about my background, my story. This is not a very complex thing. And it was very short because I was initiated with 18 years. So I went through a lot of reflections and deep thoughts and sufferings even before 18, because that's what was the reason why I took a different lifestyle. And becoming a monk for me was something, I felt an inner calling for it, because I didn't want to waste my whole existence just simply in one marriage situation. I thought that was for this lifetime not appropriate. I thought if I can give my chastity of one lifetime to my spiritual master, then this would be just a simple, humble little offering. So that's why I took the brahmachari sannyasi lifestyle. And it's not an easy lifestyle, especially for young people. It's good to live that life for a preparation time, and if one feels an intense inner calling for it, you may even sustain it your lifetime, but generally you will find that it's very difficult, and therefore it's also necessary to enter into family life and have wife and children take care nicely of them and become an excellent householder, and then later you can again become a renunciant when you finished your duties. And while you're in the grihastha life, in the householder life, you can also do wonderful things, helping your spiritual master in his mission. As a matter of fact, he needs people who live in one place and not running hither and thither, like sometimes brahmacharis and sannyasis, they do. They just have so many invitations, or they go from one place to the other to help here and there. So it's necessary also some people stay back and take care for what is there, established as like a temple, an ashram, a yoga center, or whatever. So this is the story of my life coming to my spiritual master, how he saved me from disgrace and gave meaning and a message of love to my life, which is so wonderful that I can just dance and say, thank you, Prabhupada, you've saved my life. You actually gave me a reason to chant and dance, which before I didn't have. Everybody likes chanting and dancing, but do they have a good reason for it? I doubt it. They're taking ecstasy and getting intoxicated and dancing in a techno party, or they have their bellies full of dead bodies and they're dancing the waltz in the dancing saloon. But it's not a dignified chanting and dancing. It is simply an attempt to be happy without God, and that will never work. Thank you. Hari Bol. Hari.